This is Crenshaw, Briggs and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.
Jaylen Waddle was on Channel 2, KPRC, and he said the most underrated player was Jalen Pitre in the safety backfield. Landry, is he right?
Now that you've been in the league for a couple of years, you've played against most of the better corners, the better safeties. Is there a guy that you play against that you think is underrated that doesn't necessarily get enough attention?
Actually, one guy that I really like a lot is Pitre from the Texans. When we played them, man, he was all over the place. So I don't think he gets enough recognition. I think he had a great rookie season, and not enough people talk about it.
Yeah, so it's good praise. I think Texans fans are going to be excited about that.
He said he was the most underrated DB. I don't know. I think Jalen Pitre's rated about where he probably should be. I don't, I actually think the most underrated DB in the division is Tyson Campbell for the Jags. Okay. Tyson Campbell last year I think he was in PFF's top 80. I put him number 10 on my list of best players in the AFC South of 2023. I don't think Tyson Campbell's gotten enough love. He played every game. He was on the outside. Jalen missed a lot of tackles last year. And I'm not saying it was his fault or anything I'm not saying it was all his fault. I mean, obviously when you're that soft up front, that's a problem. He also had 5 interceptions. So I think there's expectations for him. I just don't think that Pitre, I wouldn't consider him underrated at this point.
You need more body of work, right? I mean, you got to see
yeah, and I think people know that he's got a lot of talent. D'Amico raves about him, and, it seems like the league has some respect for him. So I wouldn't call him underrated at this point. I would say he's good, and I would say he has a lot of potential. But I feel like people know that. I don't think very many people talk about Tyson Campbell.
Okay. Well, Crenshaw, I kick it off to you.
I think that was just Jalen showing Houston some love. He's from the H, and I think he's just showing some love. I don't think Pitre's underrated. Who I think is underrated, I can't pronounce his last name. I think his first name is Armani. He played for the Lions, but I think he with the Giants now. You guys know that guy? He's a DB. Armani. Shit, I can't pronounce his last name. Some crazy last name. I think he's underrated, and maybe the David Long kid from the Rams is underrated. But Pitre, nah, man, the people know who he is. So I think he was just sticking up for the Texans, and he was on a Texans show. I mean, local show as well. So they're just for the fans to talk about.
All right, BT, we know you're a Pitre man, so go ahead and tell us.
Yes, I am a Pitre man, and yeah, I think he's completely underrated. Listen, I know he missed 36 tackles, but as you were saying, Landry, it wasn't necessarily all his fault. We had really no pass rush to speak of.
Who was keeping those stats? Did he get to keep his own stats, keep his own score? 36 tackles? He missed more than 36 tackles last year, though. I don't know.
No, he missed 36. So he's missed 36. He had 147. But the problem is we had 2 DBs be the lead tackle. So anytime on a team, your DBs are the lead tacklers, you've got a problem with your front 7. That isn't on Pitre. Secondly, they played him wrong. They played him at strong safety first before he was free safety. All his real stats came from after they moved him, right? Besides the Bears game, almost all his stats really were after they moved him. So they played him wrong, right? They played Stingley wrong and they played Pitre wrong. So, if you talk about why he had those 36 missed tackles, it's not on him. It was on coaching and it was on bad roster construction. Why do I think he's underrated? Because there hasn't been a rookie that has performed like him, that had either 125 tackles and 5 interceptions since 2000. So this guy has been the first in 2 decades to actually accomplish that. I think the only reason he doesn't get his love is because we're on the Houston Texans. He's on the Houston Texans. I think he should have been at least a Pro Bowler last year. And I think that he should be an All-Pro this year. I'm very high on Pitre. I think that's probably Nick Casaliero's best draft pick so far that he's made. And so I think that he's going to have a great season this year with the better pass rush, better coaching. I think that the only reason if he doesn't make an All-Pro, honestly, it's either because of injury, God forbid, or that, we don't have a good season and, we have 5 wins or something. And the Pro Bowl, All-Pro, it's a popularity contest. And if you're not winning games, then you're not, and especially if you have no primetime games, no one's going to really care about you. So I think that he's actually not getting what he deserves because he's on the Texans, not because of his inability or anything like that.
I got to kind of agree with Landry a little bit. I don't think he's underrated quite as yet because there's no really body of work, right? Like, I mean, it's his rookie year. So you can't really base off anything off except for 1 year. So you have to give a couple more years to see if he's underrated or overrated. I just think it's hard for a rookie to either be overrated, underrated.
Yeah.
You got to let the man cook. So, and
I could see him being a Pro Bowler for sure. I don't know too many people that are really sleeping on him, especially here. I mean, we are very high on him, Pitre. But I'm intrigued to see what he does. I maybe if he has a good enough season, VT will actually let his jersey get in like the full. I didn't know what that was. I thought that was a Joe Webb jersey or something like that. I can't really tell.
I know. How you gonna have Nico Collins in the middle, man? Come on now, man.
Yeah, you got to put Pitre in the middle. Especially, it's not even Nico's like game night. We got to switch those out.
I'll play it around with it.
You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.